Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, uncompensated care at Arizona hospitals is down from last year. We'll hear about a program that teaches state budget spending to MBA students, and we'll see how one dad is helping other fathers with special needs kids. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Phoenix area could soon be seeing a shortage of houses for sale. That's according to a new report released today by ASU's W.P. Carey School of Business. The report shows that the shortage of homes on the market is coinciding with weak demand and that people are staying in their homes longer, possibly to hold on to low-interest mortgages or because of the lack of equity in their homes. We'll look at the report in more detail next Wednesday right here on Arizona Horizon. And Governor Jan Brewer today endorsed Attorney General Tom Horne's opponent in the Republican primary for Attorney General. It's considered highly unusual for a Republican governor to endorse the opponent of a sitting Republican office holder, but the move to back Mark Brnovich comes one day after the Secretary of State's office said that there is evidence that Horne violated laws by using state personnel and resources for his re-election campaign. A new survey by the Arizona Hospital and Healthcare Association shows that uncompensated care has fallen in the first 4 months of this year as compared to the same time last year. Jim Haynes is Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for the association. He joins us now. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
And we should mention this survey now was done by the association, correct?
It certainly was.
And what were you looking for?
Well, back in July 2011, when the state was having real budgetary problems, they put a freeze on the childless adult population. And when that happened, our hospitals were really concerned about what's that going to do to our uncompensated care. And we started surveying the members at that point. The first survey we completed was in October, and it showed that uncompensated care went from about 3.5% of charges to 6%. It almost doubled overnight. And we've been tracking that every month since then, and it got up to about 8%. So it's a large number. And so we continue to track that, see what the results are. And since January 1st, it certainly has gone down a lot.
And some of the numbers are amazing. Uncompensated care down 31% in the first 4 months?
Absolutely. And we kind of expected it would go down quickly because typically what happens is somebody comes into the hospital, doesn't have insurance, and you try to see if you can find some insurance for them, see if they do qualify for the Access program. And since January 1st, the number of people that are covered, the childless adult population, has gone from 68,000 in December of 2013 to 235,000. So it's been a big increase, a huge increase. And that is the reason why the uncompensated care has dropped.
And before we get too much further here, define uncompensated care. What are the parameters here?
What it is somebody comes in the hospital and they don't have the ability to pay. They just don't have the dollars. They don't have the money. And that's called charity care. That's part of uncompensated care. The other portion of it is people who choose not to pay. They have other responsibilities. They choose not to pay their hospital bill. They would call that bad debt. So uncompensated care is a combination of those two items.
And with again, with 31% down, judging from what I saw, 170 million written off versus maybe 240, 250 million written off last year, huh?
Those are the numbers.
Yeah.
That's pretty significant.
It is. What does that do to the operating margins now for hospitals?
It's helped a lot. It goes dollar for dollar. So hospital operating margins have gone up about 1%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a big number, and that's a good thing. It gives them the ability to put money back into the operations, finance capital, all those kinds of things that are important to provide care to residents of Arizona.
And you mentioned January 1st as being the time when it seemed like things changed. Obviously, we saw expansion of access. Is this a direct correlation to expanding access?
No question in my mind at all. As I said before, when the population was frozen, it went up immediately. And now that the population, people do qualify, can be added to get access insurance again, it started to go down directly. I don't think there's any question that's had a direct correlation.
Is there any way, though, in the future or even now, you can get a specific metric that can be more specific, or you can say, it seems pretty obvious as opposed to, there it is, right there?
I don't think there's any question. There it is right there.
I see. There. Okay, so it's so obvious you don't need especially any more metrics, I would imagine.
I don't think so.
The impact of the Affordable Care Act, just generally speaking, more people insured, making a difference?
It's too early to tell at this point for that. We certainly expect it will. It's hard to imagine it won't, but at this point in time, it's just too early to tell.
As far as ERs are concerned, are they seeing fewer patients?
No. ED volumes are still, and I don't expect to be a huge change there, at least immediately. Over time, you think it will. You think people will be able to go to the physician's offices as opposed to ED, and hopefully that'll be the case, but I think it's too early to tell on that one.
Well, why do you not surprised or didn't expect to see a change on that? Because I think most people would.
We expected to see a change on that several years ago when we first went into HMOs, and it didn't happen at that point in time. So it's people need care, want care right away, and EDs are very convenient for that.
Okay, regardless of the insurance situation.
That's correct.
I know that assessments now are supposed to be helping pay for the access expansion. What are we seeing as far as what hospitals are paying in those assessments?
For the first 6 months, it was about $75 million that hospitals paid. And for 2015, the amount's $235 million. It's a lot of money. The key question there, though, is there's two parts to it. One is, by providing this, people get coverage. That's a great thing. Uncompensated care is down. That's a great thing. But there's also another part to that whole assessment, and that is we're supposed to start seeing additional patients. And it's still too early to evaluate that at this point in time. We think that's going to be the case, but we don't know. And if it turns out that we don't see an increase in volume, or the hospitals don't see an increase in volume, what we'll do is we'll address that. Assessment will go down if that's the case. It does tie directly to what the cost of caring for those patients are.
And compare that now, if you can, to how much the feds are paying as far as expanding access. I mean, obviously there's a formula here and there's cooperation here and there's a couple of different avenues. What are you seeing out there?
Well, this is a great program for the state.
Yes.
The way it works is in Arizona, it's almost a 2-for-1. If we put up $1,000, the Fed puts up $2,000. So it's a great return on investment, bringing Arizona dollars back to Arizona. So it's a great program. It's a good thing.
Okay, so but as far as what we're seeing from the feds, whatever we're seeing, you're saying is a good thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, critics are saying things are going well for the hospitals, things are turning around for the hospitals. Are hospitals lowering their costs to patients?
Two things on that. First, I'll say when we do our survey, 30% of the hospitals were still reporting that they were losing money on operations. That's a lot of hospitals are losing money on operations still.
Stop there. Why? Why are they?
There's just a whole lot of things going on. As far as, first, we haven't had rate increases from the Access Program for years. Right now, we're not getting paid full costs from the Access Program for taking care of patients. In addition, the Affordable Care Act has a couple components to it. They're reducing some of the payments that they're making to hospitals. And the whole part of that was they're reducing those payments to hospitals, but hospitals were going to get that back by seeing additional patients. And that's when we still have to see if that's going to happen. Not only additional payments, but lower uncompensated care. Mm-hmm. And we'll just have to play that out and see how it plays out.
And was there a second point you were going to make, or did you get that one in there?
I think I got that
one. You think you got that one in there? Okay. So the impact of the expansion, and I know Affordable Care Act is still early, and as you mentioned, there are kind of moving parts still on that, but the impact on hospital bottom lines in general. You got some folks still losing money out there. What do you see in the future?
I think what we'll see is hospitals really working hard to decrease their cost. They've been working hard to do that. Maintaining high quality or improving quality, but also reducing costs. That's the name of the game in the future. Hospitals are going to have to do that.
And do you see, as far as any other states, can you compare and contrast to any other state? I thought Colorado had something interesting you could compare it to. Are you seeing anything out there?
The states that did expand are seeing a reduction in uncompensated care, exactly what you'd expect. Those that didn't are still seeing the same uncompensated care levels they had before.
And the next survey will be? We
do it on a monthly basis.
Okay.
The next big survey, though, where we look and see what's the impact, what additional patients are we seeing? We will see that probably towards the end of the summer.
It's kind of who exactly is showing up now, in other words?
Absolutely.
Along with how many.
Yep.
Well, good information. It's good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an 8 Insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the 8 Insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today.
In a two-day event at the state capitol, Cox Communications and ASU's W.P. Carey School of Business gathered about 40 executive MBA students to learn about policy making and budget decisions from some of the state's top lawmakers and advocates. The students then passed their own budget in a mock legislative session. The goal? To show how business and the political process intersect. Here to talk about all that is Jerry Keim, Professor of Management at the W.P. Carey School of Business, and Michelle Bolton, Director of Public Affairs for Cox Communications. Good to have you both here.
Thank you.
Let's find out. This thing just kind of wrapped up, didn't it, Jerry?
It did.
Two-day event that wrapped up today?
We finished about an hour ago.
Okay, talk about this. So give me a better definition of what happened down there.
Well, we had sessions where we met legislators, we met advocates, we met representatives of the governor's office, and then we played this simulation where every one of our exec MBA students had a role. Some were lobbyists, some were members of the House, some were members of the Senate, one was the governor, and we went through a number of rounds where each one had goals they were trying to advance, and they got a really good hands-on understanding of how the public policy process actually works.
And Cox Communications is involved in this because?
We think it's really important for business and nonprofit leaders to be involved in the process and know how easy it is to be involved in the process. Arizona has one of the most accessible legislatures in the country, and so why not take that opportunity to influence public policy matters that impact their business or nonprofit? And
these were MBA students. Now they went down there and they learned about policy. They learned about, was it initially a classroom setting, or was it feet on the ground and go from there?
Initially, it's a classroom setting. So we start at the campus in Tempe,
okay.
And they do some reading. They do some analysis on their own. We teach them some tools for thinking about how the public policy process works, and then we come down here. This is a course that we've had for a long time, but it exclusively focused on the federal level process. And Cox came to us around 2004 and said, could we help you develop a state analog for this course? And I said, wonderful, we would love to do that. And they've connected us with all our speakers. They get access to the Senate for us. We couldn't do it without Cox. It's a great partnership.
How do you get access to all those folks? How do you get them to say, okay, I'll go ahead and do this for a couple of days in the summer?
Long-time relationships with us being down at the Capitol. You know, we've been lobbying for decades down at the state legislature. We've built great relationships with Republicans, Democrats, regulators, other lobbyists, and they too want folks to be involved at the Capitol. And so I think there's a fantastic enthusiasm by our lawmakers and our lobbyists, our advocates, to say, we'll show you how it's done, because people do want to hear from you.
And describe the atmosphere then down there. Once the budget game starts, even before and after the budget game, what's it like down there? Is it a lot of running around, or what's it look like?
It's a little chaotic, of
Yeah.
course, because most of the students haven't really done this before, so this is brand new to them. We're lifting the veil of mystery, so to speak. So they're learning that process. So we help them dip the toe in the pool and gradually get them involved. But once they get that taste and they get that knowledge, they're hitting the ground running. In fact, we started really hitting the ground running last night with the elections. So they elected their leaders last night. Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, and again, this is, when you see these students, I mean, obviously you go from a classroom setting to down there at the Capitol to electing leadership and such. Do you see things changing? Do you see a student, does it start clicking, or is there a little bit of intimidation involved?
Well, I think a little bit of both, but it definitely clicks. These are executive MBAs, so
Yes.
These are 35 to 55 years of age. It's all about learning to think strategically, and the point we try to make is that an awful lot of threats and opportunities come from the public policy process, and our tagline for the course is that democracy should not be a spectator sport. Democracy works better when more people are involved, and so these folks develop the understanding and the capability then to help their organizations become more involved in the public policy process. I think that's good for our state and quite frankly, at the federal level for our country.
And when the budget game begins and then folks are trying to pass this and they're trying to lobby for that, I mean, are they kind of getting the gist of what really needs to be done? I know it's a mock setting, but do they understand just how sensitive and the political, this a lot of politics going on with this?
Well, the game is structured, thanks to the Cox team, it's structured in a way that they have very specific goals. Some of them win or lose points if they can get funding for body armor for DPS officers. Others are focusing on the high-tech industry. Others are focusing on poor families and children. And they win or lose basically on how effective they are at pushing for their programs. And most of these folks are type A's, so they're pretty excited.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I want to get the response from them, but what are the response from lawmakers? What are the response from lobbyists? I mean, it's done now. What did you hear about? What did you hear from them?
Well, first off, it's really interesting how art imitates life. We had a very tenuous budget session, a vetoed budget as well. We had a Senate president that was rolled, so it was quite interesting.
Wow.
And no one could have anticipated any of that. That's just how it worked. But the key things that I think they really learned out of this is, relationships are important. They mean everything. Your currency down at the Capitol is your word, your reputation. And if you don't have that, then you start to get isolated. So everything that we have in the real world, they saw it there in the game and tried to be very strategic in how they move things through the process.
And what kind of response did you get from the students now that it's done? It's not really done though, is it? You got a federal thing back in D.C.
Exactly, and they're just chomping at the bit to go.
I'll bet.
They're very enthusiastic, and there's nothing quite like an experience like this. And also the fact that we can be in the Senate. There's something about smelling it, seeing it, tasting the environment. We couldn't do this on campus.
Yeah, but so the response that you've gotten so far?
Universally positive.
Thumbs up.
Universally
From
positive. Everybody.
students as well.
Yes, and we may even, music to my ears, we may even have some recruits to run for office.
Yeah.
There certainly were 3 or 4 students that said, you know what, I might be interested in taking a whack at that. So I love it.
Yeah.
So as far as the intersection of business and politics, is the message getting across?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They clearly understand and most people in business understand that the political process is important, but a lot of them just don't know what to do about it. Mm-hmm. Our students, after this experience, they know how to participate.
Is that what you're seeing as well?
Oh, absolutely. And the comments back after we finished our session was, wow, this was an eye-opening experience. It's tough. I have a greater respect for our lawmakers. I didn't realize it was this tough, how to actually build coalition. And, there are all kinds of outside forces that can change dynamics. So you think you're on one track, but then a curveball is thrown and now there's something new.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun, if nothing else, and it sounds like a lot of things were learned as well. Good to have you both here.
Thanks very
Thanks,
much. Appreciate it.
Climb east along US 60, approximately 55 miles from Phoenix, and you'll come to a marker for Picket Post Mountain. Early Mexican residents called it Tordillo Mountain after small birds in the area. In 1870, the soldiers of Indian fighter General George Stoneman renamed it Picket Post Mountain for the sentinels they posted here high above infantry camp established at its base. Within 8 years, a town of 2,000 called Picket Post, later Pinal City, sprang up to work the Silver King mine, Arizona's richest silver strike, before it petered out. Today, thousands flock to the foothills of Picket Post Mountain to stroll through Boyce Thompson Arboretum, home to more than 6,000 plant species and 270 kinds of birds.
In tonight's edition of Arizona Giving and Leading, producer Christina Estes introduces us to an Arizona father who's discovered he's not alone as he faces special challenges.
All right, thank you, bud.
It's 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon,
There we go.
and Zachary Morris is calling it a day.
Good job. How was program today?
After spending 8 hours at an adult day program, Zachary's ready to relax. That means the shoes, socks, and shirt come off and the TV comes on.
He's sure.
I don't know how you describe that. He is just, I want to say perfect, because he just wants to love. He wants to be loved.
Ray Morris's oldest son is 26. Cognitively, he's about 2 years old. Zachary was born with hemimegalencephaly, a rare condition where one half of the brain is larger than the other.
Zach came home, I went into, I call it survival mode. I took care of everything at home that needed to be done. I was the man. Do what men do.
That left Ray's wife, Kelly, to handle Zach's therapy and doctor's appointments.
After about 5 years, we were drifted apart because she's focused on him. I'm doing my thing over here, and I didn't know how to deal with my emotions.
He couldn't help me. He tried. He couldn't make my pain go away. I couldn't make his pain go away.
I had struggles dealing with my emotions, allowing myself to grieve, allowing myself to love again, allowing Zachary to love me, and loving Zachary, because I didn't know, is he going to have seizures? Is he going to die? Is he going to, what's going to happen?
When Ray began searching for ways to help himself and his marriage, he found resources for mothers, but nothing for fathers like him. So Ray formed a nonprofit support group called Dads for Special Kids.
What are you thinking about, Zachary? I have a little motto slogan I live by, or try to live by, is that I'm the right dad for Zachary. He's the right son for me.
You're getting big, aren't you, Mia?
Greg Burgess believes the same thing about his daughter, Mia.
You already said hi. What? I know it's a camera.
For 7 months, Greg and his wife experienced the joys of being first-time parents. Then, a flatbed truck rear-ended their car, spinning it so violently that Mia, strapped into her baby seat, suffered a traumatic brain injury.
The most difficult thing is emotionally, it's that, or psychologically, I guess, it's that she's probably not going to live on her own ever. That's difficult, just realizing that she'd probably be a lot like her sister, and kind of understanding that she's never going to be able to do that sort of thing. It kind of gets to you. Are you happy now?
It's one of the feelings Greg can share with other dads when they get together each month.
Are you a big girl? No. You're not a big girl. I think it's made me a better father, but I think it's also made me more aware of other people's problems.
Hello, my friend.
Some of the kids are much worse off than me. I'm very thankful that she is as kind of engaged in the world as she is.
Bye.
Back at the Morris house, Zach has moved upstairs to watch videos in his bedroom. It's a favorite spot for both his parents.
Or first thing in the morning when he's awake and he doesn't have all his seizure meds in him yet, and so he's just happy, rolling around on his bed, pretending he can't get out of bed. I can't get up. He'll say that. Can't get up. That's the best. The best.
And I go in his room, and he sits up, and I lay on the foot of his bed sideways, and he turns, and he looks at me, and he takes his head, and he leans in right on my shoulder here, and drives his head into my shoulder, just back and forth. And then he rolls, and he just rests his head on my shoulder. And I'm like, if that's not love, what is?
It took Ray Morris years to reach this point. He hopes Dads for Special Kids will help others get there sooner.
Dads for Special Kids holds monthly meetings across the valley along with special events and workshops. You can learn more at dadsforspecialkids.org. Friday on Arizona Horizon, it's the Journalists Roundtable. An appeals court rules that young undocumented immigrants can have Arizona driver's licenses, and Attorney General Tom Horne is under investigation yet again. That's Friday, 5:30 and 10 on the Journalists Roundtable. Reminder, you can see what we have coming up, and we have 3 debates coming up next week, so you can check out our schedule and see past programs as well on azpbs.org. Again, that's azpbs.org/horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Virginia G. Piper Charitable Trust. Committed to changing lives and strengthening community through investments in nonprofits and strategic initiatives. More information at pipertrust.org.